Everyone, welcome today. I'm in good company with Shay Gilchrist, the founder of Wine and Bob's. She's a WSET Level 2 certified wine expert. You all know I love wine, and she's also an author of a new book called Vinology. She's built a business around creating intimate, sensory-rich wine experiences here in Charlotte, but she also hails from Virginia Beach. And she's got a book launch and also a tasting event coming up on January 31st. She's doing amazing things. Shay, I'm honored to have you here today. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have you here. I know you're the wine expert. And, we're going to dive in with a few different questions. It's always great to be in good company with people that are doing amazing things. So I appreciate your time. And yeah, we'll dive right in with a few questions. I like to start off with my first one with individuals. What's something that you believe that most people in your industry would disagree with? And, hopefully, you have some insights on, your opinions on different things. Maybe it's in the wine industry or elsewhere, but what's something that most people in your industry would disagree with?
Yeah, I think something for me is sometimes people take wine, like being in the wine industry is very intimidating and it has to be like super serious and education. I think for me, it stemmed from curiosity. And I think that's a good way for people to start. If you're a curious person and you just start tasting different wines or different foods, I feel like you can still be at an expert level without having to have the wine knowledge behind it or education, sorry.
I love that. And I think I gathered that as well as I've begun to learn about wine when I first started to get into it a little bit more during COVID, didn't have anything to do, sitting around drinking wine. I started to get into it and just realized like, hey, it's a little bit more accessible to people than we think. I mean, anybody can learn it. And so how did being self-taught, shape that perspective for you?
Honestly, it was fun. I started off with cooking and my first wine I ever like really loved was white Zinfandel. And then to later find out that it wasn't a white wine, it's a rosé made from the Zinfandel grapes. And then from there, it just kind of like every time I cook something, I'm like, "Ooh, what wine would pair with this? What wine would pair with this?" And then every time I have friends come over and they're like, I only drink Moscato." And I'm like, "Mm-mm." Or even like those bold red wines, they don't like the tannins in it. I'm like, "You just have to pair it with food, and that way you
Yeah.
work up your palate to, you know, expanding your knowledge."
Yeah. No, I love that. See, yeah, she's giving you all real got to work up your palate. I know a lot of people love the sweet wines and things of that nature. But hey, I always tell people go with what you like, but also don't hold back from exploring it, more just because it may not take, you may not, feel familiar with the taste. So now I love that. Thank you for giving us, some info on that.
Yeah.
My next question that I have for you is throughout the course of your career, life, what's a decision that you made that everyone may have thought was wrong, or maybe a few people thought was wrong, but you're glad that you stuck with it today?
I wouldn't say this notion is wrong necessarily. I used to do public wine tastings. People would purchase a ticket, they would come in, have a whole experience, 6 wines, 6 foods that I prepare for them. And my cutoff was 30 people. I wanted to keep it very intimate, very controlled, so to speak, because I'm talking the entire time. And I've had people say, "Oh, you should extend your public tasting to like 40, 50 people. You can see this being larger next year." And I'm like, "Oh, let's slow down." So not to say that guest count, being upped was wrong. I just have a vision and I wanted to keep the integrity of that vision, keep it intimate and conversational. So that 30 will always be my max.
Love that. Love that. Look, integrity to the vision.
Yes.
That's definitely a bar, and being and staying true to you and what you're comfortable with and what was placed on your heart to want to do. So I really love that. And also, she does have her event at the end of the month, January 31st, but I believe it's sold out, right?
Yes.
It's
No more
capped at
ticket
30 people.
sales.
No more ticket
No,
sales.
actually this one we push the capacity since I won't be
Capacity.
talking. Yes. So
Okay.
this is more of a mix and mingle. People get to explore new people, try new foods and wines.
Love
This
it.
this was a pass.
Okay. Got you. So, but she says we say all that to say make sure that you stay tuned for more events that she has coming up. You don't want to miss it. I know it's definitely a wonderful experience, and I know you probably have enjoyed it. What gave you the confidence to keep doing that when people doubted it? You standing firm on your decision there. What gave you the confidence for that?
Honestly, I've done a lot of things scared, and doing it scared has built my confidence. And then being that I'm so driven and passionate and ambitious about wine, food pairing, all that, it like keeps, my momentum going. And even when I'm like a little hesitant, I'm like, okay, this is only going to build you, for you to become better. Like if you would have asked me last year to get on camera and start talking about my business, yeah, I would be like, no. But now that I've, done videos and done different speakings on, wines and stuff like that with my content, it's definitely helped me today.
Love that. Love that. Doing it scared. Look,
Do
you're
it
doing an
scared.
amazing job. I'll tell you that. And I think staying true to your story and allowing that to just flow through you, when you speak that's, something that can't be replaced. And that's your uniqueness that you bring to the world. So keep on doing that. That's amazing. To go along with that, what's something that you wish someone had told you 5 years ago, or maybe you telling yourself 5 years ago?
Be ready to be on camera and stop over explaining. I think it's tough when you're a small business owner, especially a minority, having a business and being one passionate about it, but then putting your work out there. It's like people might question, why is it this price? Why is it like this? Why is it like that? And it's
Mm.
like respectfully, you get with it or you don't. Like I feel like the people that are going to support you will do that. If they have questions, let's open up a bottle of wine. Let's communicate, let's talk, let's chat, and we can always, dive deeper, but stop over explaining, be ready to be on camera.
Man, that's another bar. Is stop explaining. Hey, set the price and let them figure it out. Set your standards and let them figure it out. The right client will be made for you, and sometimes you're not meant for everyone. I think that's a good point because oftentimes we're trying to fit the mold for everybody, especially when you're in business. But you got to find your ideal person, and that's what allows you to flourish. So, man, I definitely resonate with that wholeheartedly for sure.
It's tough. It's tough.
That, definitely, definitely. It's one thing to say it, it's another thing to practice it daily
Mhm.
as you go about your work. So, nah, definitely. On that, what do you think? You kind of alluded to one thing around the wine experience, but what do you think most people misunderstand about what you do currently? With your experiences that you have in being a wine expert, what do you think is something that's misunderstood?
The emotional load that it takes, the mental capacity. For me, I'm a planner. So
Mm,
even with my public events, even with my book release coming up, my process is always like 3 months. I have to sit and think about like what are my intentions? What kind of experience do I want to expose people to? It's not just a grab and go, like you just grab a bottle of wine off the shelf and you say, here, drink it. I think about everything to my capacity to the T. Like I'm very detail oriented. So that takes a lot of mental and emotional load.
Definitely, definitely. I was going to ask that to kind of give a peek into how those experiences are, and how do people actually feel, after they've been to one. But it sounds like one, I think it's very clear you put a lot of effort, time, passion, planning into these events, and people have to realize that and appreciate it if they're coming to be in that space and to experience it, if that's right.
And that they definitely leave like imagine you leaving a spa and it's like, ooh, I didn't know I really needed that. And I
Ooh,
feel, relaxed afterwards.
love that. Everybody needs that experience.
Hmm.
Maybe a little bit more personal or career wise, who's someone who's shaped how you think about work, or just life in general? Shout outs or inspirations that you pull from.
Yeah, my family, my good circle of friends. Ooh, bless them, because I'm always leaning on them, asking them different concepts because they all have a different viewpoint. Seeing, what works for me, what doesn't work for me. One of my older cousins, she also has a business, a cheer business where she mentors young girls, and she's one of the first people in my family, both on my mom and dad's side, who has built something from the
Mm,
ground up. So I definitely lean on her for advice, and then obviously God. Always got to give. big shout out to him.
Big shout out to God.
Yes.
Definitely. It makes it all work, all to come
Mhm.
together. I love that. And I know family is very big. Oftentimes that's our first representation of an example to look at is our family, our immediate family, those around us. Of course, our friends, but it's good to have those examples directly in your family to look towards for advice and to look towards for direction on where to go. So I love to hear that root story for sure. A lot of times people may take a little time to think about it, but what exactly is your mission or what problem are you trying to solve right now that maybe no one's talking about? Anything that's top of mind for you?
I guess making sure you don't get burnt out when you're passionate about your business. Like, I think some people go into business for like passive income. And then there's some business owners like, this is my passion. And making sure that you fine tune whatever service you're providing. Again, keeping it core to your values, but making sure you rest. I have to tell myself that all the time. So
Mhm.
that balance is tough, especially when you're on grind mode.
Even in today's day and age, so many things are moving. So many things are moving so fast, getting new information, new technology, you name it. And oftentimes we can lose sight of our passions and we lose sight of why we started to embark on things and we can lose that fire for it. I know if you're passionate about and going into business, you can quickly lose sight because you can oftentimes get discouraged. You can oftentimes, feel like you're lost and not know what you're doing. So I definitely resonate with you there for sure. And I think having that intentional living and direction is key. So love that. Love that. On that, what's something that you've stopped doing that's made you better at what you do today?
Mm,
And it probably does tie into some of your other responses already.
yeah, I mean, definitely the over explaining. I've stopped. What have I stopped doing? I mean, a lot of things are like trial and error. There are some services that I've wanted to offer in the past, like the public events. I realized that creates instant burnout, and then the financial load that comes with it, like, with the not knowing of, am I gonna have, all 30 guests arrive and all the associated costs that come with that, and then again, the burnout, like, making sure your services align with you being able to rest and still enjoy life.
What do you do though to make sure that you're not getting burnt out outside of is it having a glass of wine?
Oh, yes.
uh, hey,
A
I got I
glass of
got a
wine, my
I
favorite
got a
show.
cadence right there.
I need to try that one. That's been on my list. I've seen it in the
Yeah.
grocery store a few times. I just haven't picked it up yet.
Yeah, hey, that's the one. That's what got to have the conversation over the wine. We'll make sure we do that. My next one that I have for you, this is one that is an interesting question that I like to ask people to just see where, your thoughts are. But if you could ask the world one question and get an honest answer, what would it be?
Say, like, what are you afraid of, like, going after and being in the public eye and knowing that, like, this is gonna be a process? Like, what are you wanting to do? What are you sitting on right now that could be a potential business of yours or idea or something to help someone else, but you don't wanna be in the limelight because you're scared of messing up or, being seen of, how that process is gonna go.
Mhm, mhm.
And I say just go for it. Do it scared, like I said.
Do it scared, go for it. Yep, no, definitely. I think people getting over that fear, and I think we all have our own individual fears, even myself in career and whatnot. And I think the best things are on the other side of fear. So you got to go and confront it. So love that, man. This has been great. You've given some wonderful gems, wonderful perspectives on just how to approach life, not even just business, but just life. And I really do appreciate it. Before we wrap up, where can people find you? I mean, feel free to tell us about any other events that you may have going on. We know the January 31st. We know the book is launching as well. I think I ordered me a copy.
Yes.
So yeah, yeah. Feel free to give us any other information.
Yes, you can find Wine and Vibes on Instagram at wine and vibes underscore. Vinology will be launching on Amazon February 4th. and we have some cool and exciting things coming out down the pipeline. And this is just the first of many volumes.
Love that. Love that. The first of many. And she's staying true to her vision and her passion. Love that. Continue to keep doing that. And we thank you. It's always a pleasure to be in good company with amazing people. So thank you, Shay.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.